Hello, and welcome back to episode 23 of Premier League Primetime. The four of us here back again. Cyrus, Andre, and Jose, how are all of you doing?
Great, Davis. And yourself?
Weekend, not so great. Not Man United related because, Man United this weekend made me very happy despite how poor we were. Cyrus, Andre, what about you two?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Cyrus, what about you? Are brilliant. I'll take that as a Yaya Sanogo is the GOAT of all time. All right, and before we have loads of things to talk about. Thomas Tuchel versus Callum Hudson Odoi. The uncertain future of Jose Mourinho. The David Moyes West Ham band. Where's Waldo featuring Christian Pulisic. Everton beating Liverpool for the first time in about, I think, 23 fixtures, and Palace's smash and grab win against Brighton. Just a few of the things that we're going to be talking about. And let's start off with the very first one. Against Southampton, Callum Hudson Odoi was brought off the bench in that 1-1 draw. Goals courtesy of Andre's favorite player ever, Takumi Minamino, for those who don't know, and Mason Mount with a penalty. He was brought off the bench, and then later in that second half, he was taken off for Thomas Tuchel justified him being taken off, justified him being taken or subbed off. As for he was in quotes unhappy with Hudson Odoi's attitude, and did not do as instructed as he came on, according to Thomas Tuchel. Cyrus, I just want to get your insight about this. What do you think really went on between those two, and how do you think Hudson Odoi is feeling now? Do you think there's still a bit of bad blood, or do you think they've moved on? And also, to add on a further question, where on earth is Christian Pulisic? Honestly, it's easier to find Waldo in the worst Waldo books than it is to find Pulisic anywhere near the starting lineup for Chelsea at the moment. So, Cyrus, what are your thoughts on these two things?
Yeah, Tuchel, he demands work. We've known that with the teams he's previously managed with Dortmund and PSG. People have their different say on this, different opinions. In my opinion, I feel like it's a bit harsh. I feel like when Callum Hudson Odoi came on, other players were struggling just as much. I feel like defense, especially Reece James and Kurt Zouma, were playing pretty horribly, to be honest. But he did make the pass for the pen that Mason Mount got. So I thought it was kind of cruel. That was kind of harsh, but it's just a learning step for him. He's still young. I was gonna say, with your question, is there any bad blood? I'm pretty sure. I didn't get to see like all of it, but I'm pretty sure he did start today in the Champions League.
Yes, he did.
That's a little boost of confidence. Kind of changes my opinion a little bit. So yeah. And in terms of Christian Pulisic, I said that this was going to be a good fit for him because Tuchel, managed him in Dortmund. But because he's not playing, I think it's up to him, to be honest. Before once COVID happened, the break, and then after he was playing really well. Fortunately, got injured against Arsenal, and that's where things kind of turn around for him in terms of his form. So we'll see what happens. I think he's still bringing around. He is he has spots to fight for. Werner left wing, Callum Hudson Odoi right wing, other players who want to play there. So he's gonna have to fight for it, and he's gonna have to be consistent.
Yeah. And last player to touch on a player who a lot of us thought would be dropped out of the starting 11 when he came, Thomas Tuchel, but Mason Mount, he's really now starting to prove, even people like myself, why it has been correct to be selecting him in that Matchday squad throughout the season. He's been performing for Tuchel as well. Thoughts on this?
Yeah, I know people do shit on him, but I've always been a fan of Mason Mount. I thought he was brilliant, like in the Champions League today against Atletico, and I had my doubts that maybe he wouldn't make under Tuchel, that maybe all the memes were right, that it was just Lampard favoritism. But once again, it is proving that it seems like I mean, every major coach really seems to rate Mount. So, maybe just the public alike just needs to put a little respect on his name.
Yeah, and for a while, I really never really understood what was so great about this kid, Mason Mount. If you want, you could throw me into that category as a Mason Mount hater or whatnot. But now seeing it under two managers now, I could definitely understand it. But before with Lampard and Gareth Southgate, I thought those three were renting rooms somewhere, God knows what. But now I'm under a proven manager who's had success with other teams, with proven teams as well, like Dortmund and PSG, et cetera, et cetera. I can now really understand why these coaches, as Andre said, really rate this boy so highly. And credits where it's due. Anyways, getting into the games for Matchday 25. We already talked Southampton and Chelsea, but getting right into the very first game of this match day, where Wolves won by a 0-0 through a very, very unlucky Illan Meslier own goal. Traore with a rock hit the post and then it hit Meslier, I think, on the backside of his head. Jose, what did you make of this game?
Yeah, it was a good one. It was an interesting one. It was pretty much what you would expect. I mean, Leeds had the dominant possession in this game. It was 50, I believe it was like 60 to 40%, and they had more shots to Wolves, but Wolves, they play their counterattacking football. They sit back, they hit on the counterattack, and they got a little. Leeds definitely were unlucky with the Illan Meslier goal. I think it's the second weekend in a row. He's made a mistake. I don't know if you're gonna call it a mistake, but it's the second week in a row he's contributed to the other team scoring against them. So I think it's just a little rough patch for him, but I think he'll get over it. I think he's a good goalkeeper.
Yeah, I agree. 100% agree. You put everything there perfectly. Into the next game, Burnley hosted West Brom, and Semi Ajay, I can't pronounce names for my life, as everybody knows, got sent off in the game, which this game ended up being a whopping 0-0 match. Andre, what did you make of this battle at the bottom of the league?
Yeah, I have a history of defending some of these games that seem boring on paper and that they end up being more exciting when you watch it. But this one was not one of them. It just really wasn't. You've got Dyche and Allardyce, who are just both known for just that. I don't know. I just say slapstick football, where it's just that shoving, pressing, just a bit late, like no nuance at all. So it was absolutely that, and the scoreline reflects it. The stats reflect it. So not too watchable, but let's get on to that red card. What happened is that the ball was sort of coming across Ajayi through behind his own goal, and it just looked like Ajayi just slightly purposely tipped it with his hand to misdirect the ball, and he almost got away with it because it looked like it came off his thigh. But in my opinion, it looked initially harsh for a red, but you realize it seems pretty intentional. He has that guilty look on his face, so personally, I thought it was justified red card.
All right, and getting into this next game, Everton, after I think about, as I said, 23 games, go to a very, very wounded Liverpool. I think most of us predicted that Liverpool would salvage a draw, and I think I think all of us predicted this as most teams, as we've seen a lot of times, that most teams are down, and not to throw them out just for the banter side of it, but Arsenal notably, they'll be down in the drains, but then when a big derby game comes up, they're up for it and they're ready for it. For example, that Arsenal-Chelsea game, I don't think anybody expected Arsenal or gave Arsenal a hope or a prayer of winning that game, but they slapped them about. But Everton, not that they slapped Liverpool about at all, but they came out as 2-0 victors. Goals courtesy of Richarlison and Gylfi Sigurdsson from the spot. And Jose, what did you make of Carlo Ancelotti's setup? I couldn't tell. I honestly could not tell if it was a back three, a back four, a back five. I mean, kind of like my own club coach. Sorry to throw him under the bus, but I honestly could not tell what he was going with because Digne was so high up, but then he would stay compact at times. What did you make of this game?
Yeah, I really liked his approach to this game, even though it was pretty defensive. There was only, I mean, Richarlison is basically the only forward that was playing on the pitch for Everton, and I think that it worked very well, definitely. I think that both of the goals were really the fault of the new signing, Ozan Kabak. I think that I watched them both carefully. The first one, he was ball watching and he let Richarlison slip in behind, and he couldn't get back in time to catch up to him. And it was a really good finish from Richarlison, to be fair. And then the second one, I believe there was a pass coming in from the right,
Yeah,
and
to Calvert-Lewin.
yeah, and he completely just missed it and let it go right past him. And then from there, they won the penalty, obviously, and it was scored by Gylfi Sigurdsson. So it was a good performance from Everton, definitely. They defended well. Jordan Pickford had a really, really, really good game as well.
Yeah, something that we haven't heard in a long time. Jordan Pickford having a very good game.
What do we? I wanted to ask, like, what do we think of that penalty? Because it was just, from what I saw, I thought the center back had already slid for a previous challenge, was already on the ground. For me, I think Calvert-Lewin slyly, but was totally looking for the contact. And I'm just, for me, maybe that one's more debatable, but I'm just not sure personally. I'm a fan of this whole any contact in the box, it's a pen. I mean, it's like every other game there seems to be a pen. So for that one, I thought,
agree, definitely.
I thought, yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of seeing all the penalties, I have to say. I think they're kind of cheap. I think that it's just like it's when you win a game on a penalty, you're not really that satisfied as much as you would be if you scored regularly. But I think this one is actually fair just because I think it was Alexander-Arnold who was on the ground. He was on the ground,
He
and
was also looking to make that further challenge,
I think that he saw above him that Calvert-Lewin was running over him, and he starts to get up. I think to intentionally block him. So that's why I thought that it was a fair decision.
Makes sense.
All right. And yeah, a big, massive win for Everton. As I said twice before, I think they've now ended a 23 winless drought of Merseyside derbies against Liverpool with a win, and on top of that, a clean sheet at Anfield. Liverpool just looking absolutely hopeless. Do you think Liverpool could very well be a Europa League team next year?
Yeah, there's a big chance, definitely. If they continue this form, they need to figure something out quickly. I mean, we saw them play decently well in the Champions League. It was a fairly open game, but they still played well. I think they need to just figure out how to replicate that form throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think.
Andre, what about you two?
Yeah, I think it was Gary Neville went ahead and called Liverpool players zombies, just saying how just lifeless they looked as of recent. He suggested a back three. I'm not sure if the move is that drastic, especially considering they're low on center backs. But you have to have sympathy in that they're lacking their full squad, but still they've really just got to feed off some sort of energy. I think if the fans were in the Cup, it might be a different situation. But they just really need
110%.
Yeah.
That is an absolutely brilliant point. I 100% agree with you, because a lot of these fans, or just fans in general, make a huge impact, and especially at Liverpool. I mean, when you go to Anfield on a normal, typical day, most teams are more or less, they're scared stiffless, because that atmosphere that Anfield has, it's unlike any other stadium in the world, and it's a fortress. That's Liverpool's fortress, but without the fans, there's just a whole lot missing from Anfield that I think that the Liverpool players really appreciate and really need to drive them on. Getting into another clash at the bottom, Fulham hosted Sheffield United, and they won by 0-0. Ademola Lookman, the former Everton boy, the former Charlton boy, scored the winning goal on that one. Cyrus, what did you make of this game?
Oh yeah, it was a big win for Fulham, who are 18th. Right behind Newcastle in the fight for who's going to stay alive in the Premier League. I feel like with Sheffield, it's more or less over. It's kind of disappointing considering how good they were last season.
You sure they're only 3 points behind though?
They're 3 points behind the 19th place. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think Sheffield's. Here, I was looking.
No, you're right. They're like 11 points behind the 17th place team. They're gonna.
Yeah, I think it's kind of over. but you never know. But yeah, Lookman, I think he has actually the most goal contributions for Fulham, so he's doing decent. It's a big win for Fulham, dominating possession and shots, and they're gonna keep needing to like win against these smaller sides in order to stay in the Prem.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Into the next game. And I promised someone to not go into another disappointing Tottenham performance, but West Ham ran out 2-1 winners. Goals coming from Mikhail Antonio and our boy Jay Lings, and Tottenham, Lucas Moura scoring a header. Another disappointing performance from Tottenham. And two questions. What did you make of this game, Andre? What did you make of this game? And actually, to add on another two questions. What is your opinion regarding the uncertain future of Jose Mourinho? And number three, Tottenham are really in dire need of a center back, aren't they?
Yeah, I guess I'll go in order. But in terms of the game, what I think in any scenario, I think you asked someone last year, should Tottenham win every game they play against West Ham, and you think yes, they should be winning. But this season, say West Ham, they're a top four side clearly, and they were really clinical on our errors, and Tottenham were simply wasteful, but also extremely unlucky considering we hit the post twice. There were some positives in that Gareth Bale was easily the best player on the pitch. Bale's back, I'm saying it now. But in the end, it's just West Ham were clinical. Jesse Lingard capitalized on that just woeful Davinson Sanchez tackle, and West Ham, they were clinical. So congrats to them on the win. I think it was deserved. Mourinho's job security is seriously, we're now in a scenario where we can actually start talking about Mourinho. There are multiple reports. I think ever since Mourinho came in, the media's attention on Tottenham has already gone sky high. But from what I can tell, all the tier one reporters are saying Mourinho's job will be determined depending on his results in the next 12-day span. We have a few games, including some against like sides like Fulham, I think West Brom in there. So not West Brom, but it seems like the players are backing Mourinho. There might be a few mutineers, but when you consider there's no fans, the results aren't there. The football, obviously diverse opinions. And then just the media's constant attack on Mourinho, it has just all and a stingy chairman, and it has all the ingredients to just be a Jose, just complete disaster class if he stays. So in that sense, he's definitely in trouble. We'll see what happens in the next 12 days. I still think it's likely he's going to stay till the end of the season, but these next 12 days will determine whether he stays or not. Supposedly, Nagelsmann is at the top of Levy's list, but I also think Levy's even more desperate for Mourinho to succeed at the club. Anyway, so also Nagelsmann, I don't think he has any titles, so that probably the banter wouldn't stop with Tottenham there. The third question: every game is defensive errors. It's not just Mourinho. It's every time it's a mistake. So I think every Tottenham fan is like, why couldn't we just get Skriniar? But it seems like everything would be solved. So yeah, to answer your question, we're definitely in dire need of probably an entire rebuild of the defense.
I mean, you more or less just took the words out of my mouth for me. I didn't even need to say anything. But also, actually, there's one player in particular who I've noticed is just, for whatever reason, is just it's very glaringly obvious, I think, to any pair of eyes how much this player has declined. Hugo Lloris. Known as the world's best goalkeepers, one of the Premier League's best goalkeepers. Something looks seriously wrong with him.
Yeah.
This is now not a one or a one off, two off. Everybody has bad days. Everybody, it happens. I mean, these players aren't like fucking robots. They're humans, and you know what? I mean, everybody has bad days. I mean, I have bad days. I mean, all of you bad days. It's not shocking to have a bad day. It really isn't. But it's now happened 3, 4, 5 times, 5 games in a row. I feel like it's 5 games in a row where he's just, cocked up with another massive error, Andre. Do you think goalkeeper is something that they definitely need to look at in the summer?
Yeah, I think every Spurs fan, the links have come up to even to Dean Henderson. It
Yep.
seems
I
like
saw
the
that.
top,
Pay
yeah, the
40
top
million,
of,
you can have him.
yeah, and I think it's worth it, to be honest. He seems like a really sure bet. It's going to come between us and Chelsea, it looks like. But I think Tottenham, if Lloris continues to decline, then Henderson seems the ideal, most perfect successor, at least in the eyes of the fans.
Yeah, 100%. Dean Henderson could do them very well.
Yeah.
But to as far as I know, when it comes to Chelsea, I think the last thing Chelsea need is another goalkeeper. In
It's
my
true.
opinion, honest to God, the last thing Chelsea need is another goalkeeper. They just bought Edouard Mendy. You're
Yeah.
not gonna bring in Dean Henderson just to relegate, Kepa to what, third choice?
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen.
And even if you are Henderson, then if do you really want to go and compete against a keeper like who's done that well against Edward Mundy, or you're competing against him, then the most expensive keeper in the world. So it seems like if he's going to go to any top six club and be a sure starter, it seems like we're the one.
Yeah, definitely. And not to forget, Tottenham had a brilliant second choice keeper who, at the very beginning of the year, Jose immediately said he was third choice, which I do not understand in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
I still rate the lad. He's a very he's a very good goalkeeper. For me, he deserves better.
I used to joke that he was our Romero. He was like the best backup keeper ever. Every Spurs fan is for sure. If there's one decision that we go against for Jose communally, it's that Gazaniga has been just really disrespected. And now it's like even fans are crying for a Joe Rodon Tanganga center back pairing. That's how desperate we are. That's the only one we haven't tried yet. So defensively we're just in shambles, truly.
Yeah. Anyways, into next game, and Joe, over to you. Aston Villa hosted Leicester and they lost by 2-1. James Maddison and yet again Harvey Barnes. That's someone who I will get on in a little bit. And Bertrand Traore scoring for Aston Villa. Before we jump into the game, let's start with Harvey Barnes. How impressive is this young lad?
He's been really good. He's been coming up with some really, really clutch goals. I'm not sure how many games it's been now, but I think I can remember a pretty good amount of games this season where they've been looking for a goal and he just gets them something out of nothing. So I think it's been really good for him. I think he's having a breakout year this year.
100%. And what did you make of the game?
I mean, it was pretty much the game we were all expecting. I think we all predicted a Leicester win for this one. I mean, Leicester, they've been exceeding my expectations definitely this season. I think that they are yet to bottle it, like I usually say that they do. I still think that they will. I don't know if they'll get Champions League, but
Andre always says about Brendan Rodgers too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that they probably will end up getting just below again. But so far this season, they've been fantastic. And I honestly, for them, I like their team. I think it looks really, really good, really fun. And I hope that they do well this season.
Yeah, definitely. And I also hope that that Leicester can sell Manchester United Wesley Fofana for £10 million. Of course, it will never happen because Leicester would probably demand 80 million. But there's one thing I actually did forget to mention. Going back to that West Ham game, really quick. David Moyes, who is more or less the specialist in failure at Manchester United. Did very well with Everton. We know that. For whatever reason, he's got this West Ham team clicking. I said this now in the past. I think if there's a single manager that we didn't expect to be on close to number one in the sack rates, it's David Moyes. Especially the addition of Jesse Lingard. As we said in the preview, do David Moyes' musical band now via Jesse Lingard's celebration versus Tottenham. Do you think they really do have a shout for top four, or is it just all overhyped?
You go.
Yeah, I think that they definitely do. I think that they've looked. I mean, we all had them as. We all had David Moyes as number one in the sack race or number two in the sack race or wherever we had him. But I think that he's. we also know that this West Ham team is very talented, and we know that what they are capable of, what they're when they're playing at their full potential. And even I didn't think that they were capable of playing this well and getting this many good results against really good teams. So I think they're definitely in with a shout for the top 4.
Yeah. Cyrus, what about you?
I personally don't think so. I think I said that last week, but you never know with the Premier League these days. But
All right, fair enough. It could very well be something overhyped, but I think unlike the Everton ones and the Aston Villa ones of this season, I think West Ham, it's a little more reasonable because, I mean, one could say for the vast majority of the year, West Ham have been very impressive. Very, very impressive for the vast majority of the season. Anyways, getting back to where we were in Sears, sticking with you, Arsenal hosted Manchester City, and it seemed after only 2 minutes, Arsenal had immediately surrendered more or less as Raheem Sterling somehow jumped above Holding and lost Bellerin for the goal. Arsenal yet again. If there's one team that for whatever reason they can't beat at the Emirates, it's Manchester City. Arsenal have literally the Emirates is like their fortress for I think almost against every single team in the Premier League. But when it comes to Man City, they just have this tendency to slap Arsenal about without. But Man City can slap anyone about these days. It's not just Arsenal; it's literally anybody. What did you make of this very disappointing Arsenal performance, Sears?
No, yeah, it wasn't really surprising to be honest. Feel like I don't really know how you can give someone who's 5'7" a header in the middle of the box when you have like a 6'4" and a 6'5" center half. That's what it is. I feel like Bellerin was poor again. He can go to PSG this summer. I really don't care. When you're having El Neni and Xhaka at center mid, I don't know what you expect for creativity and any offensive capabilities coming from the midfield. I feel like Sakho is our best player again, which isn't saying much because he wasn't even good. Aubameyang just looks, I don't know, man.
Something's wrong with him.
Yeah, he had that hat trick earlier, but honestly, what Michael Owen said, it's what you sent us, Dave, what you sent me and Joe. I feel like some of it is true. I feel like he can still. I don't think he's lost all of his abilities. I feel like some players struggle one season, and the next season they can turn it around. But yeah, it's been disappointing. You saw Stones just completely bodied him off the ball. I just you don't see that pace anymore. You don't see him taking on opponents like he did last year and years in dormant. So it's tough.
And another question. What did you think of Mikel Arteta's team selection, particularly in the attacking third? I didn't think he would play Saka. I thought he was going to go with maybe Martinelli or maybe Nicola Pepe or maybe even Willian. Maybe even Willian for the experience. Who knows? But he plays Saka and Pepe, but he played them on the wrong side of the wing. I think, as you've seen with Pepe, he's been playing in that streak of games. He was playing very well. He was playing on the left-hand side, but he played on the right-hand side, which he got no support from Bellerin. And Saka on the left-hand side, I don't know if it was intentional, but maybe Arteta was, giving Riyad Mahrez a literal birthday present, whether he was trying to double up on Mahrez, but, that just did not work for Mahrez. Is just an amazing player. It was his 30th birthday on that day. Do you think Mikel Arteta should be in criticism for his team selection, or do you think he got it right and the players just didn't click?
No, yeah, I think I didn't really like the team selection, to be honest. Not because the players he picked were per se bad. I think Saka needed a rest, to be honest. He looked tired. I feel like we have I don't think the Premier League, to be honest, matters anymore. It's not like we're gonna get top 4. I feel like the only thing now is to win the Europa League. So I don't understand why Aubameyang played. I don't understand why Saka started. Why they both started. I really wanted Lacazette to start. And yeah, you're right. He played him down the wrong wing. Mahrez I feel like if Martinelli needs chances, ever since he's come back from, multiple injuries, he hasn't been getting chances. And I feel like maybe, with all his energy and tracking back, I feel like he maybe would have given Mahrez a tough time. He was brilliant yet again against us.
I mean, for Martinelli, it's going to be difficult, especially when you have a world-class player like Willian sitting ahead of him,
No.
And that will immediately cut us to the next game, where Manchester United finally, and I mean finally, if there's been one good thing for me about this weekend, apart from me getting Hudson Odoi by my own coach at the weekend, actually, which is quite unfortunate for myself. So, Callum, if you're somehow watching, I feel it on that one. Manchester United beating Newcastle by 3-1, something that did put a smile on my face. Marcus Rashford opening the game for Manchester United, and then more clumsy defending by Harry the Hoover, and seeing Hoover vacuum back again once more gave me another heart attack, and I'm not even going to say it, for I've said it so many times. Daniel James scoring in the second half, and then Bruno Fernandes converting it from the spot, which it was a legitimate penalty. I don't care what people say. Rashford got clipped. He got tripped, went down. It's a penalty, regardless of anybody wants to say. And United win the game 3-1. But Jose, over to you. To be honest with you, if Newcastle hadn't tired, or if that was a better team, we probably could have lost the game by, maybe 2, 3, 4 goals. What did you make of this game?
I definitely agree that if they hadn't tired, that we probably wouldn't have won this game. But the way that they played, and the way that you're saying that they might have gotten their goals, is what made them tired. Is what made I knew going into this game that it would get easier as it went on, because of the way they were playing. They were literally sitting back and then pressing. It's like that's like literally the easiest way to drain yourself throughout a game. So it's like I was not surprised at all that we got our goals late. We got kind of lucky goals, sloppy defending from Newcastle. It's just it wasn't surprising for me at all. I think that I was really surprised that Bruno got man of the match for this game. I think they probably gave it to him because he got a goal and an assist, but I think he got a little lucky on his assist, definitely. And then for the penalty, I mean, you could say it's just a penalty, but obviously they're hard to take. But I think that we won this game purely because of Marcus Rashford. I think his first goal was superb. I think no one can deny that. And then he did go and win the penalty for us. So I think he was inspirational, to say the least, in this game.
I just think, and Marcus Rashford's not only inspirational on the pitch, but off the pitch. I think if there's any football fan who says this man isn't inspirational, without any United bias, I just think you're absolutely ludicrous for saying something like that. I mean, this guy on and off the pitch, coming in with major contributions. And Marcus Rashford, I think that's his 85th goal for Manchester United, matching David Beckham's record. I think he's number 25 now in Man United's all-time leading goal scorers. Can definitely break Rooney's record for me. Big up the lad. Love him to death. Manchester born and bred. Absolutely love this kid so much. Into the next game. What?
Oh yeah, I just wanted to ask you guys because I mean United are in second place in the table, and I know all the plaudits go to typically Bruno, but obviously it takes more than that. So I just wanted to ask you your top 3 United players of the season. Just name 2, because I know Bruno's the top one. So who have been your top 2 outside of Bruno?
Yeah. You said my number 1 already. Number 2. I know I'm gonna get a lot of stick from this, but Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw's gonna be my number 2. In terms of the overall season, I think after Alex Telles came in, he's been arguably our most consistent player. And number 3, that's a difficult one. It's definitely none of our center backs. I'm gonna say this right now. It's definitely none of our center backs. It really is a difficult one. It really is a difficult one to say.
Could be Rashford, McTominay, Rashford probably.
No, McTominay. I love Wan-Bissaka, but he's had poor games. Fred's had poor games. Yeah, I'll probably give it to Rashi. I would probably give it to Rashi. Joe, what about you?
Yeah, obviously Bruno number 1. He does now have the most goal contributions in the Prem, ahead of Kane, which I love to see.
Sorry to interrupt, but did you see like that ridiculous stat or something like that?
Probably.
I think
only Messi has more goal contributions.
That is mental. That is literally mental.
Especially for a player playing at number 10. That's pretty crazy.
And a player who's actually more coaches than number 8. He wasn't really number 10, but that is mental.
Yeah, but anyways, to my top 3, I think that for me, I'm gonna give Rashford second spot. I think that he's won us a lot of clutch games. He's been, I mean, we wouldn't have won yesterday without him. We wouldn't have won, I think, against
Wolves.
Against Wolves. I think he scored a great goal against Newcastle, against Brighton as well. A lot of tight games have been decided by some brilliance from him. I think Shaw is definitely number 3 for me. He's been nothing short of brilliant this season. I think he's been defensively good and offensively good. I think he has more or the same number of assists as Andrew Robertson at the moment. So I think that should tell you all you need to know about his attacking qualities this season. And I do want to give an honorable mention actually to one of our center backs, Eric Bailly, because when he plays, I think
I take back to what he said.
Completely changes the tactics of the game and makes it a lot easier for us to win.
I think the only game where Bailly's been poor was that thrashing at home to Tottenham, but I think everybody was poor that game. I mean, you can ask Andre right now in that post-match rant. There wasn't a single player who I think at that time and in the moment that I think I rated above a 4, and I was being very generous, very, very generous in that game. Luke Shaw, I was done with Luke Shaw, especially after the Arsenal game. I was done with Luke Shaw. Absolutely finished with him, but he's just come out of nowhere. Anyways, getting right back into the games. Brighton, a smash and grab loss against Crystal Palace. I honestly could not believe this game. Brighton lost by 2-1. Jean-Philippe Mateta with his first goal for Crystal Palace. Joel Veltman striking back for Brighton, and then Christian Benteke literally last second volley to break the hearts of Brighton. The camera goes to Graham Potter, and he's just like, what have I just seen? And he just chucks a water bottle onto the pitch. Andre, I'm speechless, but what do you have to say?
Yeah, 75% possession for Brighton, 25 shots for Brighton, 1 goal for Brighton to Palace's 2. It's such a just total smash and grab. I think everyone was in shock. But yeah, it kind of just goes to show what we've said about Brighton before, is that they play a very attractive football. They create the chances, but I don't know if they don't have the quality, but they don't put them back in the back of the net. If you didn't see that Mateta goal for Palace, that was a brilliant back heel. You should.
It was a brilliant.
Everyone should go watch that goal. But yeah, just total smash and grab. You got to feel for Brighton in this derby because they played their hearts out.
Yeah. I think this was completely undeserved. This game absolutely reminds me of when Man United went to the Emirates and beat them, but Arsenal absolutely dominated the game. They had more shots, more possession, but Man United came away with 3 points.
Was that the Fellaini game where Fellaini scored late on?
No, it was a game where David De Gea literally cemented himself as the best keeper in the world. Competent football fans at the time already knew he's the best in the world, but there's still some people saying, "Oh no, it's Manuel Neuer. Manuel Neuer's the best," even though the guy had already been injured for the past 2 seasons. But I think that game really opened the eyes of some football fans, and they're just like, wow, they're not lying when they're saying he's the best in the world, but of course, looking at it now, he's far from the best in the world. And I love David De Gea, but he's very far from the best in the world. The goalkeepers have just evolved from then. Ederson is a new kind of goalkeeper. I don't think David De Gea, matches Ederson, especially in the way he uses his feet. David De Gea nearly gave away a goal against Newcastle, actually, because of a poor pass out of the back. And into the last game of this match day 25, which was today, actually, Leeds United hosted Southampton, and they won comfortably about 3-0. Patrick Bamford, Stuart Dallas, and Rafinha on the score sheet. Cyrus, what did you make of this game?
Yeah, it was a good win for Leeds. I really like the way they play. It's always going to be an entertaining match when Leeds are playing their manager. Yeah, Rafinha with another brilliant performance. He's been great this season. As well as Bamford getting another goal for the fantasy team. It was just overall a great performance from Leeds. A good win for them. You never know with Leeds. It's either, for me, it's either it's always going to be entertaining, but it's either going to be awful or amazing. So, yeah, it was a good result.
You literally stole the words out of my mouth. There's no middle ground with Leeds. It's either, amazing, beautiful, intricate, sexy style of play where it's all passes and it leads up to a goal. And everybody's just literally, and I mean literally drooling all over it. And literally just like, wow, Leeds this, Leeds that. And then there are games where they just are just absolutely shambolic. Crystal Palace game first last season when they lost 4-1. Manchester United when they lost 6-2 at Old Trafford. The game, and I no banter to Tottenham fans, but I genuinely forgot the score. But they lost to Tottenham at home or away. I genuinely forgot. But there have been games, but there's no middle ground with Leeds. It's either beautiful, sexy football, or it's absolutely shit. There's zero middle ground, and yeah, seriously, you said it absolutely perfectly. And into the predictions for Matchday 26, and we'll start off with one of the more exciting games of the weekend, but a game I think everybody at this point will probably know, despite of how impressed we all are with this side. Manchester City hosts West Ham. I just think when it's Man City, it's a different level. And I think when it's Man City against anybody, and it's kind of like when people went up against Liverpool last season, like when you go up against, when teams went up against Liverpool last season, it was like, oh yeah, it's Liverpool all day. And I just think it's another one of those things, no matter how good a form you're in, I just think Manchester City's just gonna, take the win here. It may not be an easy win, considering the fact of how well West Ham have been this season, but it's for me a Manchester City win, no doubt about it. What are the rest of you thinking?
Yeah, I'm gonna probably unfortunately have to say a Manchester City win here. I think that as much as I hope that there's a Lingardinho masterclass in this game and he scores a hat-trick against them, I think that it's not going to happen. But I think that we do have to remember that it's important that I mean, I'm a fan of La Liga as well, and watching La Liga, there was a point where I think Atleti were 10 points ahead with two games at hand against Real Madrid, and now there's only a 3-point difference, one game at hand, so it's very, very, very close, and it's right back into the hands of multiple clubs. So I think that we can't end the league yet, but I think we might have to soon though with Man City. So.
All right, Cyrus, what about you? Unbelievable. And Andre, what about you? I think Cyrus has pulled a Dave out of the past. And I know if this had been me, Cyrus would have been right back on the show saying, very unprofessional from our host. Very, very unprofessional. On the new host of the show now.
Yeah, he does sound like that. So.
And Andre, what are you saying?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think against us, West Ham handed over 70% possession of the ball, and we had 20 shots against them, and that's with Mourinho's Tottenham. So when you look at them going against City, it's like it's done deal. I think City. I'd be surprised if they mess this up. City win.
All right, lovely. All right. Cyrus, are you there? Brilliant. Yep. What a surprise. Oh my God. Yep. Okay. Yep. For a minute, I thought he was frozen, but yet again, a Saga with a classic Saga. And I just got baited on live stream. Lovely stuff. Cyrus, so what's your prediction for Man City and West Ham? Man, I got to take that one on a grain of salt, to be honest with that one.
Yeah, I think Man City's gonna win.
All right, fair enough. And so you're sticking with you, West Brom versus Brighton. What are you saying?
Going with Michael, the Sheehan
Sheehan
prediction. I'm gonna go with a cheeky 3-1, to be honest.
Is that all right? Joe, what's your prediction for this game?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna back. I think Michael's boys are gonna be a little frustrated after the last match day, and I think they'll get the win here today. In the next one.
Andre, what about you?
Yeah, Potter will be fuming. So I think Brighton will win this.
Okay. Newcastle. Wait, no. Leeds host Aston Villa. And as I said before, there's no middle ground with Leeds. I think Aston Villa will, especially with Jack Grealish returning. That was a big blow for them. In the game against Wolves. Wait, was it Wolves? Wait, no, it wasn't Wolves. I honestly have absolutely no idea of what I'm saying. Not at all. In their last game, missing Jack Grealish, that was huge for them. Because that's just he's just such a massive player for them. But I think in this game, I think Aston Villa will be back to winning ways, in my opinion. I think Leeds will just, will more or less just, open themselves up in the back, as always. Will leave loads of space and will allow, speedy players like Traore, to get in behind and whatnot. And I think Aston Villa will come away with a win with this one. What are the rest of you thinking?
I'm thinking Leeds. I think Leeds is gonna edge them. I think they're on better form. We don't know if Grealish is gonna come back, so I'm going with Leeds for this. I think they'll win.
Joe, what about you?
I think this is gonna be a really, really good one. I think that Patrick Bamford or Ollie Watkins or Jack Grealish can all be really, really good captains this week. I think it's gonna be a high scoring game. I think it could really go either way because Villa are not in good form at the moment. But and Leeds, obviously, like you said, you never know. So I'm probably gonna go with something like a 4-3 win. I'll go with Villa just because they haven't won their past few games.
Okay, and Cyrus, lastly, over to you.
Wait, shag me if I'm wrong, Davis, but did you say Grealish is injured or not?
He was Dean Smith came out and said apparently there's some big controversy at the club, or that the media released that Grealish was injured, but the club hadn't released it, and the club weren't happy about it and whatnot. But he was out for that game, but apparently it was just a small niggling injury and that he should be back for the game against Leeds. That's what I've been hearing.
It says on fantasy he has a 50% chance of playing.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. I just wanted to make sure he was all good. Otherwise, I'd have switched him out. I know you love switching out players, Davis. I'm gonna go with the Leeds win.
All right. Into the next game, Newcastle hosts Wolves. And I think Wolves will take all 3 points here. For me, Newcastle. That performance against Manchester United really showed. Opening 30 minutes or so, it looked like as if they were gonna have 4 goals by then. But then they just died out. But yeah, I think Wolves will take all 3 points. Cyrus, over to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you. As long as no one has any niggling injuries, I think Wolves are gonna win.
Joe, what about you?
I think this one's gonna be very defensive. I'm gonna go with a 0-0 for this one.
Okay, Andre, what about you?
Yeah, I don't fancy Newcastle. I think they'll lose.
All right, fair enough. Crystal Palace hosts Fulham. This is actually a very interesting one. I think this one's going to end in a draw. In my opinion, I just think these 2 teams, in terms of morale and in terms of just mindsets, I think they're in very similar positions. I think both of them will be going into this game with confidence. I think both of them, in terms of just how they look at this game, I think it's going to be from a very, very similar point of view. So for me, I think this game ends in a draw. Cyrus, what are you saying for this game?
Yeah, draw.
Jose, what about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think they'll both be full of confidence. I think I'm gonna go with a Fulham win. I think that they're gonna know that they need this win. They really want to stay up next season, so I'm gonna go for Fulham.
All right, Andre, what about you?
Yeah, it'll be tight, but I'll edge it to Fulham as well.
All right. Next game. Leicester hosts Arsenal. And for me, as much as everybody loves, Willian and Elneny, and Arteta sometimes for when he picks Willian. For me in general, when it comes to Leicester, this Leicester side has been flying almost all season. And yeah, it is going to make a difference because there are fans, and there you go. That's another team that definitely looks to their fans, to give them that extra, drive on. But for me, I think Leicester will come away with a win on this one. Cyrus, do you think Arsenal will lose to Leicester, or do you think Arsenal will get a result here? Keeping in mind that both of them have the Europa League, and especially for Arsenal, the Europa League may be the only way to salvage something from the season.
No, yeah, that's what I was actually gonna say. Honestly, I don't really care if we lose or win. Honestly, I think we're gonna lose. We're never good against Leicester. I don't remember the last time we beat Leicester. I know we beat them twice when they won the Premier League, and we still couldn't win the Premier League that year. But yeah, I'm gonna go with a cheeky loss. I feel like the Europa League, we need to start our best players, and we can be starting Elneny and Willian for all I care against them.
I don't think DT would be too happy if they started, or Troops, especially Troops, would be too happy if they started players like Willian against Leicester. Jose, what about you?
I don't know. I love this fixture right now because, either way, I get to see either Leicester lose or Arsenal lose. So I'm gonna be happy either way. But I do hope for an Arsenal win because I want Leicester to get a little.
I do hope for an Arsenal win, actually.
Yeah, but I actually think that Arsenal will win this game. I think that they'll definitely be frustrated after that loss against Man City, only 1-0, and I think that the Europa League will have already passed on Thursday. They have their game this Thursday, right?
Yeah. Second leg against Benfica, and the weird thing is that Arsenal are at home, but they're going all the way to Athens, and Athens is further away than the first leg, which was, I think it was in Rome or something, which was closer to Arsenal. I'm just kind of confused by that.
Yeah. But anyways, I think Arsenal are actually going to win this one.
Okay. Andre, what about you?
Yeah, I don't want to be biased. Yeah, I don't want to be biased against Brendan Rodgers, so Leicester will probably win like 6-0.
Okay. Could arguably be one of the most boring games of the week or the weekend. I'm predicting it because I already know what's going to happen. Chelsea hosts Manchester United, and before this game even needs to start or see, combined 11s or concept 11s and whatnot, I already know what's going to happen. Tuchel is going to tell Kovacic and Jorginho, keep possession, keep hold of the ball, and what Oli is going to do, Dan James will not be playing in that. If he does, will be a miracle. But Daniel James will not be playing in that Europa League game because we already know what he's saving Dan James for. He's saving him for that Chelsea game, and it will be Matchday sitting back, Hoover and Vacuum sitting, McTominay and Fred sitting in front of them. Luke Shaw on the second. I already know what's going to happen. And it's going to be very, very, very boring. And for me, this game is going to end in a draw. Very simple. Jose, do you agree with me?
Absolutely. I'm going to predict a 0-0, unfortunately. I desperately hope that we play Bailly and that we play attacking football. Because even if they play possession, then we'll still have our own attacks. I think that they might struggle against a team that really plays that offensively against them. So I think I'm still going to go with a 0-0 because I'm tired of predicting wins in big games where we just play out 0-0s. So
yeah. Cyrus, what about you?
Yeah, it's a tough one. Chelsea versus Man U is always pretty tight. Never mind. But I think Chelsea's gonna get the win. I think they haven't lost under Tuchel yet, but you never know. I'm not counting Man U out.
All right. Andre, what about you?
Yeah, this whole game lies in each side's defense, and they're both going to try desperately to keep solid. So I think it'll be probably a 0-0 draw.
All right. And speaking of 0-0 draws, one that could very well happen. Tottenham against Burnley. I think Tottenham and I think Tottenham will win this one. I think actually Jose is going to go all out attack. I think he's going to go all out attack and try and win this one. Because his job is seriously in danger. And you can't say he wasn't backed because Daniel Levy has gone out of his way to completely back this guy. He's been backed, to every light under the sun. I think Tottenham is going to take care of business. They should beat Burnley. Joe, what about you? What are you saying?
Well, yeah. For this one, I mean, we have a very defensive, physical, messy, disorganized side against Burnley. So it's like, you can't really predict anything other than a 0-0 for this one, to be honest.
All right. Cyrus, you there?
Yeah.
All right. What are you saying for this game?
A cheeky 0-0.
Into the second to last game, Sheffield United hosts Liverpool. Two teams who are just looking
David,
to gamble.
David, you
What?
forgot to ask Andre his thoughts about the game.
Yeah, my own team, man.
Disgraceful.
The reason why I didn't ask was because I was assuming by my own predictions, he was giving me all the nods and all the. So I was assuming, oh yeah, Andre is probably sharing the same views, but okay, Andre, fire away. Do you think it's going to be a Mourinho attacking masterclass or what?
You don't know me. I think what worries me is just Chris Wood and Ashley Barnes completely bullying our clumsy center backs. That's what really worries me. But I think it will win. Yeah.
Sheffield United versus Liverpool. Oh dear. I'm gonna put my faith one final time into Liverpool. This is bottom of the league because the only thing I can give Liverpool is that they played difficult teams. They played Man City, they played Everton, they played Leicester. None of those are easy teams to play against. Bottom of the league, Sheffield United. I will assume that Liverpool will just have the quality to win. I'll say that right now. But if it's a draw, I will not be surprised in any way, shape, or form because their defense is just nothing short of shambolic at the moment. I'm predicting a Liverpool win somehow. Jose, what are you saying?
I'm actually gonna go Sheffield United. I think that they're gonna realize that Liverpool are really, really weak right now, and they're gonna go for it, go all out like they did against us, and they're gonna go for it. And I think they're gonna get the reward.
Okay, Andre, what about you?
Yeah, I think it'll probably be Liverpool, but yeah.
You said you don't. You said everything that you needed said there. Nothing missing.
I don't know. I've been having this theory in my head about Sheffield United where I don't know if like Timo Werner would get into their team. I was because I think he's so bad. So I was going to say something about that. Ollie McBurney and McGoldrick both being better players than Werner, but it's okay. I don't want to anger Robbo in the
But
comments.
also better than Lamella, so.
No, Lamella. I was thinking I wouldn't trade Werner for Lamella. I was thinking about that too. I don't understand Warner. I watched the
What the
Champions League
bias?
game. He was
What
so
the
bad.
bias?
Maybe. I just really think he's an awful player. His work rate is there, but he's just not good at all.
I mean, if it were Werner or Lamella, I wouldn't have either. I'd rather have Tony.
I just want to cheekily say Lamella has 0 goals this Premier League season. So what the 8th?
Even more so that has more Premier League goals this season.
Yeah, but he does have one red card on Martial though, so I think that counts for a few goals in my opinion.
Very true. And speaking of, imagine if Tony hadn't gotten that red card, because that's kind of where it all went wrong for Martial, to be honest with you. It's kind of where it went all wrong. Like his confidence just dropped after that. Anyways, sticking back, Cyrus, what's your prediction for Sheffield United and Liverpool?
I think even though Liverpool has been struggling with all these injuries, I'm gonna go with a Liverpool win.
Okay. And lastly, Everton versus Southampton. I think Everton will win this one. Southampton are just in really, really poor form at the moment. Cyrus, what are you saying for this game?
I'm gonna go with a tie.
Okay. Jose, what about you?
I'm also gonna go for a tie.
Okay. And Andre, lastly, to you.
Yeah, I'll go draw as well.
All right. Well, there you have it. Thanks for watching. If you've liked
Wait,
everything,
could I say one thing?
what is
course.
it?
Of
I
course.
have a cheeky stat that I just pulled out of my little bag. The 2020, 2019, and 2018, Lamela has a total of 6 goals in the Premier League, which is the same as Werner this year.
You know what, Lamela is. You know, we all know he's had his problems with injury. Okay, Lamela has had those master classes. I still remember when he scored against Barcelona. He has the technical ability. Lamela dies for the badge.
Wait, what happened that Barca game?
Yeah, he scored for Barca and they still lost 4-2.
A little cheeky Lionel Messi masterclass.
Lamela is. I mean, he is kind of just like, you know, he's our Lionel Messi. You know, his stats don't.
Okay.
That's
then-
where we end the
Everyone knows
show.
that.
Okay, and this isn't where we immediately cut to the thank you for watching. If you've liked everything that you've seen, smash like on this video, and comment down below. Comment down below. What do you think of all the subjects that we've talked about? And we love to hear your thoughts and input. And to see our platforms on Spotify and Instagram, and soon Apple Podcasts for all those who like Apple Podcasts. The link is in the description below. And wherever you're watching this in the world, have a great day.